Hello and welcome back to episode 39 of the Action Toon Brothers podcast. Ooh. I'm Ben Sturgeon.
And I'm Matthew Lewis.
And today, as you probably have seen in the thumbnail on YouTube, or if you see the episode title, we are doing yet another episode of Castlevania Netflix series.
Yeah, after a... 6
hiatus.
months? Yeah, half a year hiatus for the show.
Hey, they don't even know that.
Well, they'll be able to tell from the...
No, you know what? That's fair. But yeah, so far, I know it's been so long since we've actually done this, but how are you liking it so far, Castlevania?
I've seen season 2 forever ago, so I'm still just rewatching, but it's...
I know, but I'm saying so far.
I love it still, yeah. I've re-listened to the episode we recorded and just seeing how much I loved all the new characters and how much I love that the entire perspective of the show shifted to the villains for the majority of the developments.
Right. Yeah, and if I remember correctly, you don't know much about Castlevania stuff. You've not played them or anything, unless it's a fighting game, the one for the Wii.
Yeah, that one Death Note designed one is the last one.
The one that Death Note artist did. Well, anyway, but yeah, so half a year. What have you been up to for this half a year?
Recording movie garbage.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Playing Elden Ring over and over again.
I have yet to buy that right now because I'm still waiting. I need to make ends meet and stuff like that. Still waiting on that one, but yeah, it's definitely on my list. Recently, I got the DLC and on the PS4 sale, Bloodborne.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, I finally got him.
Finally, I can invade. Actually, does it even have invasions? Yeah, it doesn't have invasions. That's co-op though. That's co-op though, so you can't play.
Oh yeah, absolutely co-op. Yeah. Well, anyway, now that we've gotten our little introductions out of the way, by the way, movie garbage. He already mentioned that earlier. Go listen to that, please. Ed is amazing. Matt's amazing. Don't listen to the Star Wars episode because they were wrong, absolutely wrong. Anyway, so let's start. Let's just start. We don't have a segue. Let's just start this whole thing.
Yeah, we can get right into it.
Yeah. Season 2, episode 5, Last Spell. We start off. If you remember from last time, or if you're just, if you're not listening to these, in sequence, last time, what happened in the last episode was Isaac killed Godbrand.
Yeah,
just straight up murdered the guy it was nothing.
It was so cool. It was it opens on a foggy castle. We see a peaceful Isaac just sitting on the balcony, and then he releases Godbrand's ashes.
Yep, Godbrand's ashes and everything.
Yeah. And of course, Carmilla looking for him.
Yeah, Carmilla, your girl.
Yeah,
your girl, Carmilla. She's making sure her soldiers are in Brayla and everything, and she's just like, where's Godbrand? Even he's easy. But then it goes back to, Isaac throwing away Godbrand's brooch and everything. I'm just like...
Brooch?
Yeah,
Brooch,
potato, tomato, it's all the same. It just depends on how you cook it.
Another episode.
But... Yeah. And then after all of that, we go straight to the Belmont estate, where Sypha is looking through some books.
Yep, she laments Alucard with the speakers. All this information, this would be more than the speakers could translate to each other in entire lifetimes.
Right, and she's like, we always do word of mouth. Why didn't we actually start writing this stuff down?
This weird book I found, it's all about penises.
Yeah, right. Magic spells for penises. And then Alucard's just like, oh, blah, 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 jab against Trevor. Yeah, and then they get into that argument.
Yeah, Alucard's just like, Sypha, you're very smart, you're very studied, but I think you're really distracted by Trevor and he's an idiot. And so it's just like, she's like, well, I think you're just as bad as he is. And he's like, what are you talking about? You're both incredibly immature and really weird.
Right. And as they're having this argument, and they're still, looking for this, for any books, Sypha notices that there was a book that has a different, it's in a language that she recognizes. She needed a reference book, but it's apparently in a language called Adamic.
Oh, yeah.
AKA the language that Adam and Eve first spoke, kind of thing, and that she needs a different reference book to translate it.
Yeah, and then we cut to Hector and Isaac just walking around the forest.
Oh my goodness, these two!
I love them so much.
No, I do too. I'm not saying anything bad about it. It's just Hector's sort of positive, encouraging.
He's I love the sun. It's so warm and great, and I like the castle.
and Isaac's just it's like Hector's hey, we can be buddy, and Isaac's just dude, no.
Yeah, this is annoying. What do you want? He's like, well, we needed to get away from the castle to have a conversation.
Yeah. Apparently Hector is hey, look. So there's a bit of unrest. the animals need to calm down.
Yeah.
Yes, calls the vampires animals.
He literally calls like vampires are like cats, and they just like to play with their stuff, and they just you need to understand. And Isaac's like, oh, I get what's going on here. And he's like, I think we should. Hector's like, I think we should go to Brayla, and he's just like, okay, why is that?
Yeah, and of course Isaac's very skeptical about all of this, but Hector makes some good points. He's like, look, Brayla, we could go to block the harbor so no one can escape there, and everyone in the War Council will calm down. And Isaac's even like, this is gonna help Carmilla, but if it will calm them down, ultimately we want to do that.
Yeah. And this is when, let's see, Isaac actually agrees, despite it being what Carmilla wants.
Right.
And then Hector immediately goes to Carmilla and says, I did it. And she's like, oh, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks so much, you good boy, good boy.
And he thinks that it'll cause the war to be over quicker. And then like, yeah, sure, man.
Right. And then with this, we cut to Isaac and Dracula. And Isaac, is just like, hey, I'm here to warn you. Carmilla and Hector are going to walk in here and say, hey, let's go to Brayla. Yeah. And Dracula's like, okay, level with me. Is Hector on the level? Yeah, he's on the level.
He's like, he's an idiot.
He's an idiot, but I mean, I can definitely see that he's on the level with what you want.
Yeah, and they say that this will cause the court to settle down with the general tension that's been in the air.
Right, and of course they also Isaac also mentions, and Dracula agrees. It's like, just again, fair warning. This is what Carmilla's been wanting.
She's a schemer and she's up to something, but this is what she wants, but it'll cause everyone to chill the hell out, finally. So.
And then at this point, we get Hector and Carmilla actually walking in, and, they're like, hey, Brayla, how about that? And Dracula
Dracula reminisces, talking about, what's it called? But reminisces about a time he went to a town and destroyed it.
Oh,
super
right.
bloody, really. Also, really very.
You're right. Because this is when he's like, "Look, I don't care, Isaac. I'm just tired." There was a time when I would revel in the details, and then he talks about I don't know if he mentions the town.
Yeah, I don't know if he says the name, but he talks about how he put the it's he going through the town, it's very anime, killing a bunch of people, putting people.
Oh, that's what it was. It was
just like what was it?
Yeah, it was actually called Kronstadt.
Kronstadt.
Yeah, Kronstadt. Apparently, merchants made disrespected him. Yeah. So he made an example out of them.
Oh yeah, and he put them on pikes like the real Vlad Tepes in real life. That was
painted the ground in their blood. Yeah. Literally reveled in killing them because he's like, I knew exactly how this town worked. Yeah. The women and children got out and the men stayed to get their valuables. That's when I snuck in.
Yeah, it's just a really really cool fucking fight scene with him just being awesome.
But after all of that reminiscing, he's just like, I used to revel in all of that, but right now I don't care anymore. I just want this done. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Talking like an old man, which is weird for a vampire.
I was going to say, listening to the last episode, that's exactly what Carmilla said, when old men become old and tired and cruel and they hate the world, and that's when they start fucking up and being stupid. And she wants to get rid of Dracula. Speaking of which, that's exactly when Hector and Carmilla enter the building.
Right, that's when they come in. I for some reason I thought the reminiscing was after.
Oh yeah, I just got my notes. But yeah, they're like, come on, they're like, Dracula, we want to go to Brayla, and he's just like, sure, and they're like, oh,
sure,
okay.
Fine, whatever, just get out of here. And then after
all he says is it's fine, we'll go there, just as long as they all die, everyone has to die. Yep. And
everyone has to die, it doesn't matter.
Carmilla wants to turn the court now to her side. She's like, okay, Hector.
Hey, okay, Hector. Now my forces are in place. Everything's going according to my plan. Hector's like, wait, what? Yeah, I know. Spoilers. Carmilla was scheming the whole time. And Carmilla's like, yeah, you did everything I wanted to. I wanted you to. But why did you make it sound like I was good? Because that's what I wanted you to hear. Yeah. That's the point of scheming. Because, see, anyone could have done it. Dracula could have done it. You, Isaac, anyone in the fucking court could have done it.
Yeah, she literally says, all of the men here are either animals or they're children. And he's like, well, what about me? He's like, well, you're both. You're a puppy.
Yeah, you're like a puppy. You're like a child and an animal. And, of course, you see a little bit of resentment in Hector's eyes, but Carmilla assures him, yeah, guess what? You're in it now. Yeah. You can't get out of here. Come on, boy.
Yeah, exactly. It's also fucking hilarious.
I hope this doesn't become a trend with Hector.
Oh yeah, no, never. Never. He'll get out of this, I'm sure.
Well, and
back to Sypha, keeps researching, and she finds a locking spell
for
the castle. This is also one of the times I was wondering, Leon and all the other ones before, all the old Belmonts prior to Trevor, they dealt with Dracula at some point.
They usually it was mainly vampires.
I know, just a general vampire, because I remember like I saw a breakdown of like a quick shot of a cabinet that had like a ton of like weird like references to the games in it, like tons of enemy pieces. And, like actually had the bestiary numbers matching to the actual game bestiary.
Yep.
But like I was curious, like and also the skeleton dragon you pointed out, and like the skull
the white dragon. Yep.
And a whole bunch of other really cool like esoteric enemies. But I'm like, wait. Well, I don't want to spoil if we ever get anything from the other like previous Belmonts, because it seems like a lot happens.
Literally, when Trevor was talking about like his past, that's all we get about the past Belmonts. From here on, I can promise you that it's not a spoiler. But yeah, like you were going with something about like Leon and them. Like,
I was curious if like they ever dealt with Dracula at any point.
No,
they kind of knew about him.
This is supposed to be like a different representation of the third game. Which is the first time Vlad Dracula Tempest was introduced. In the past, it was all usually just vampires.
Okay.
Like with Leon, they actually have a game. Don't ask me what the name of it is. I didn't research that. But there's a game where you play on the PS2 where you play as Leon Belmont, the one before that he mentions, and you actually fight a different vampire lord of a castle.
Okay.
And the final boss is actually not Dracula or a vampire or anything. And then it actually, after you fight the final boss, it actually explains, like, this is a never-ending thing with Belmont and the forces of evil kind of thing. But like this story right here is the first that Dracula was introduced in Castlevania.
I was curious because like she finds a locking spell specifically for the castle.
Yep, for Dracula's castle.
She just needs to finish the spell. And then we learn that the speakers are the enemies of God. And
yes, I love that seriously. So much.
That was very funny.
Wait a minute. I mean, this whole thing about you and God. Yeah, the speakers are the enemy of God. We actually hate him. He's such a jealous. Like, keeps making fun of him. And as she's making fun of God, just a giant rumble happens. See? God hates me. It's like, I don't think that's God. And then you find out that there's a whole bunch of night creatures at the hold, and that's where the episode ends.
Yep, that's where episode 5 ends.
Yeah, so there wasn't really much to go on, and there's not really many questions to ask right now because we're in the middle of the series. Yeah. But especially with the Belmont hold particularly. What about that, like, even from last time, what about the, like, everything that you've seen in the Belmont hold and everything? Yeah. What has interested you the most, whether they spoke about it or not?
Probably the weird mirror that was mentioned in the last episode.
The mirror?
Yeah,
okay.
Because it felt like that was the only one that I, like, also saw, like, the breakdown video, like, showed the, like, speed wing boots were, like, in the corner, and then, like, a book falling over with reference to, like, the flapping books and, like, the library enemies in those games. But, like, I was curious because, like, the mirror, it seemed like they really pointed out, like, this is going to be useful at some point. We're going to need to use this for something. Or it's just like, oh, okay, that seems highly specific. So
yeah, it seems very oddly specific.
Yeah, but I know that also is, like, a reference. Also, I learned that the Dracula's weird, like, that D12 or D20 that he uses to teleport. It's a reference to the save icon in the Castlevania.
Yes, in Symphony of the Night. Well, actually, in a few of them. Mainly Symphony of the Night. But yeah, they do have like a weird little D20 dodecahedron looking thing. So, like when you first saw Dracula using it to do the teleporting, I'm like, okay, so what is he doing? Just rolling a D20 to see where he goes?
Exactly. Or just like doing weird save fast travel, I guess technically.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Fast travel. That's all he's doing. Is fast traveling. Well, yeah. And speaking of, the mirror and different happenings in the Belmont hold.
Oh yeah.
Right now, next episode 6 of season 2, The River, where we actually
a bunch of monsters descend on the house.
And they're just kind of beaten down. Where originally you needed magic to open up that one stone slab, the monsters are doing the smart thing and just beating the crap out of it until it breaks.
One of them, I think, has a magic spear that like chips away at the seal a little bit, and then I said goat guy keeps growing in size and like pounding it.
I think he's supposed to be a form of a minotaur.
A Minotauros, I think it's like the specific
like a very
Castlevania enemy is called like a Minotauros or something like that.
Well, it depends on different translations and stuff, but they're all minotaur pretty much.
And
there's like this weird like crow mask looking guy.
Yeah, I think that's another specific enemy.
I don't know what it is exactly called in this, but it kind of is reminiscent to Malphus.
I think, yeah.
He's like a crow demon who's like a boss.
Okay, yeah.
But in this one, I mean, it's the Netflix series, so there's kind of a little bit of creative stuff. Well, anyway, as all these monsters are attacking, Sypha's like, okay, look, I need to do this. Trevor, what do we do? And Trevor's like, Alucard's like, listen here, you little shit. I followed you. You need to either man up or stand down. And then, of course, he's like, okay, Sypha, start working on the spell. Alucard, sorry, brain fart for a moment. Alucard, get that mirror going, because it's like a distancing mirror where he's like, we can see where you get that mirror working so we can see where Dracula's castle is. Yeah. Me, I'm gonna barricade the door, and he awesome Belmont like using the whip to climb up and shit like that, and everyone's got their line of their duty and stuff.
Yeah, I literally wrote classic mission type, protect the time, or protect for the time runs out. Like, just like literally, like hold them off. I was thinking, like, they said, the three things: the mirror, the locking spell, or fighting. And Trevor can't do the other two, so Trevor's gonna fight.
Yeah, Trevor's literally like, I don't know magic. I literally have 0 magic points. Yeah. So you get this mirror working. You do the magic shit that you've been doing. Me, smash things.
This is when the monsters finally crack the seal and actually get in the thing, and then Trevor starts kicking ass.
Well, they just get in at this point.
Oh, yeah. He says he can't figure out how to seal the door.
Which I think is hilarious, because you see him, like, grabbing a tiny, like trying to barricade. I'm sitting here,
and the door opens up the opposite way.
Right, I was like, Trevor, buddy. But yeah, then we cut to, this is where we cut to the castle, where we actually see Dracula at the dodecahedron.
Before that, Alucard does find his dad's base in the mirror.
Oh yeah, he actually does get the distance mirror working, and then he finds out that it's wherever they are right now. Yeah, I forget where they are at the moment. And then it's at this point you see Dracula at the dodecahedron, like, Braelia, just so long as they shut up. Yep. And then teleports, and Alucard is seeing this in the mirror. He's like, crap, they teleported.
Yep,
Damn
and
it.
The mirror stops working. The castle pops up in the middle of Braelia and like destroys half the town.
Yep. I like the teleportation, because it's like there's some kind of ozone kind of thing going on cool. Before it just BAM!
The monsters at the house finally land, and Trevor finally actually starts kicking some ass.
Yes, he does. With sword, like, he's got like a sword. He's got the I whip, still like how it's called the Morning Star, even though it's supposed to be the vampire killer. But you know what? Whatever. He starts fighting, kicking ass, taking names.
His sword gets stuck in the Minotaur's like neck.
And the Minotaur's like still alive somehow, even though its esophagus got sawed.
Exactly, and then he cuts his foot off, and then it's just awesome as hell.
Yeah, it's just, you know what? We can actually say this. It looks very anime. It's
very, very anime. But this one cut to Carmilla and Hector finally point to the damn zombie bishop from the first season. Yeah. It's finally brought back.
Remember all the way in, like, I think it was the first recording of this? Yeah, the bishop who got his face eaten off? Yeah, he's back!
Yeah, he's actually chained up, and they're having him go into the river as the rest of the camp's forces ready to enter the town.
And Carmilla tells the bishop to bless the river. Yeah. I'm like, oh wow.
That was absolutely crazy. I saw that, I was just so like...
Right, and I was like, oh yeah. It's a small detail, but another thing I liked is, as the bishop, who is undead, is blessing the water, the water is burning him. I'm like, that's exactly what we do.
That is so cool. I love that so goddamn much. He blesses the lake around the river, and Carmilla's men ready on the other side of the river to attack.
Yep, and then, the Dracula's forces, Dracula's generals are like, hey, whoa, this isn't supposed to happen. So they actually go on the bridges to be like, we're going to attack. But Carmilla's forces are actually a lot smarter than you think, because they have giant ballista-looking things that are already connected to the support of the bridge. Yeah. Pull out, a lot of forces go into the water, and the generals, smart as they are, stayed behind. So they're like, crap, go back into the castle.
Yeah, a ton of the other people just like they just go right back in and like, oh shit.
Yeah, just like no, please.
Yeah, Trevor fights the demon with the spear along with the fire drake and the other bat monster. Just like completely a really cool fucking 3-on-1 fight scene with him.
Dude, okay, let's be real. I think it was either the fire drake or the bat creature. Yeah. One of them looks like Nargacuga.
Yeah, I think it was the fire drake.
Yeah, the fire drake looks like a freaking Nargacuga.
Yeah, I was like, god damn it.
But anyway, as all of that's, more fighting, more awesome.
They eventually break into the library, and he manages to take out the spear guy. I think it's like a weird blindfolded demon.
Yeah, it was like a blindfolded skeleton-looking guy.
He fights the big bird guy with, Eskrima. The Eskrima sticks, like the weird little
No,
sticks.
well, it's funny because it was the spear.
Yeah, exactly.
But it got broken in half. Yeah. And I love it. He's like, yeah, I know you're afraid. I've got a stick.
Yeah, exactly. He just starts
what did you call the actual weapon?
I think they're called Eskrima, Calienda Eskrima. I think it's what they're the
yeah, okay. Well, either way, it's like the broken, but he's using it as those, which is good because you're seeing the versatility of weapon use that a Belmont can do.
It's really, really cool. The bishop finally dissolves, and Carmilla fires on the castle with all of her men.
Yep, and then of course, Hector's like, I'm gonna go back to Dracula, and Carmilla's like, are you an idiot? Look, you are now mine. You're in this hip deep.
Yeah.
You have to follow me, or what? What are you gonna do? Go back to Dracula's castle and either A, die, or B, get reprimanded for your betrayal?
Yeah, and that's when she finally yells like, oh my god, you, Dracula, Isaac, you're all men, children, get back in the castle, puts like a angry mom, get in that castle and shut up. He's like, oh, okay.
And then, as all of this is happening, we cut back to Sypha working on the spell.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, you have the location of the castle? And of course, Alucard's like, yeah, it's here in Brayla for some reason.
Yeah.
Good. Wait a minute. I have an idea instead of a locking spell. And so she starts...
The one demon almost gets her, but I think they're like...
Right, yeah. But then she actually decides to use a spell. Cut back to... There's a lot of cuts in this episode.
It's cutting back and forth two crazy action sequences. Yeah,
there's two things going on at the same time, so it's like cut. And speaking of cuts, back to Dracula's castle.
Yeah.
Carmilla's forces are...
Did she explain the plan?
No, because we actually see it in action. Because now that the bridges are destroyed, where is she? Styrian. The Styrian army, which is her forces, just put down wooden bridges so they can cross over, and they actually get into the castle. And even Isaac's like, goes to Dracula. It's like, Dracula, we're being under attack. And Dracula's like, wait, we're being attacked? What do you mean? Braylia doesn't have anything. They're vampires, but with different colors. What are their colors? And I forget
it's,
what.
I think silver and blue, I think.
Like silver and blue. And he's just like, oh, wow, that's Styria. Damn it, Carmilla's made her move.
Yep, he's like, he knows it's Carmilla. Sypha is then, working on the spell, continues and moves the castle around Brayla and starts teleporting all over the place. She sees the...
Instead of locking it in place, it's just moves a little bit, more, and even to the point where...
it splashes into the holy blessed lake.
Yeah, it kills a whole lot. Yeah. And as this is all happening, we actually get to see Dracula's end of it, where he hears the creaking and he sees the castle kind of shifting. Yeah. He's just like, wait. Someone's using magic.
And then Carmilla, I literally wrote the quote down. What the fuck just happened?
What just happened? I just love this. It's like castle disappears. It's all quiet in Braylia, and all Carmilla asks the question. What the fuck just happened? And even Hector's just sitting here like, and then. As it's being, it gets teleported right on top of the Belmont Library. And Alucard's like, Sypha, where did you move the castle? And she's like, yeah, I moved it on top of the library. Oh, great. I moved a very heavy object on top of a very crumbling, empty hole.
Giant thing.
Oh, dear.
And it could collapse the library, and that is when the episode ends.
Yep. Oh my goodness, there's so much happened in this episode.
I love the action sequence. I love the thing with the priest was really fucking cool. So.
I'm glad that they added the touch of him hey, I'm blessing while I'm standing in it, and I'm starting to dissolve while I'm still doing it.
It's so fucking cool.
But yeah, so Carmilla and her forces. They finally are kicking into high gear their plan. What do you think so far of her?
I still absolutely love the character. I love her design and I love her motivations. And I love that it's so funny. I love when, that's what I like to do in my, like, D&D games. So, like, unrelated people with their own goals can, like, interfere with other people's plans unknowingly. I love that, like, they have no idea about Carmilla's attack, and they just interrupted it. Dracula didn't know, and it's just, like, 3 different factions with 3 different goals and just, like, completely unaware of one another, and it's just such a fun, like, dynamic whenever something like that happens. I love that literally the fucking good guy's plan fucked up Carmilla's plan without even knowing that she was doing anything.
Right?
It's just, like, it's so funny.
But yeah,
I love the dynamic in that so much.
Just, there's so much going on in this episode, but I loved it because they did it in a way where it just meshes so well together.
Oh, yeah.
Some shows can do it well, some shows don't.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
in this one, it's just so superb. But now, I'm gonna give you a pseudo spoiler warning. This next episode we're gonna talk about is still, to this day, my favorite episode.
Really?
Of all 4 seasons, this one is my favorite, and I'll get into that why. But speaking of which, let's get on to episode 7, For Love. We start at the bottom of the in the Belmont Library, in the Belmont Hold.
Yeah.
And, it's just like...
The castle, the holy water pours from the front door of the castle.
Right, yeah, the holy water's pouring in, and, they're down there, and they're like... Trevor's like, okay, we need ropes. The stairs are busted. We need ropes. We need to climb. We got to do this now. Yep. And
we do get a quick shot of the soldiers continuing to fight. The few amount of Carmilla's soldiers who got into the building.
Right.
And Dracula's forces are still fighting.
Yeah, and Dracula's eyes start doing the whole red thing because the moon turns red.
Yeah, the blood moon is up, and Dracula is very tired. He's just like, oh my god. Yeah.
Oh no, he literally becomes Joseph Joestar in part 3. Oh my god. And then of course, as Trevor's trying, doing the leader thing. Hey, find ropes. Let's find a way out of here. Sypha's like, hey, hold that thought.
I have a better idea.
makes ice on the bottom. Hey, we can just use this. Yeah. And then it starts going up so slowly, and I like it because it builds it up.
Yeah.
It's building up what's going on because...
An ice elevator, literally.
Yeah, and it literally, we're getting ready for... going into Dracula's castle. We're getting ready to fight Dracula kind of thing. Yeah. So it's like that slow build up and everything.
I must say, it feels like a Dark Souls thing with like the slow elevator going into a really, really long tower.
For dramatic effect.
We also see some more of the Leon Belmont's like photo pictures and
with like a portrait of him and stuff like that. And when we get to the top, they hop off the ice. Sypha literally throws it right in the middle of a forest, and she's like, what? I didn't want them to be able to get down.
Also, the water would have melted or messed up the books. He says that thing as well.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah. And then that's when they actually see the castle with the blood moon, and Sypha's just like, whoa, look at that. And Trevor, being ever the leader, looks at Alucard. Are you ready? Alucard's like, no, but let's do this anyway.
Let's do it anyway.
And then it gets to literally the best Castlevania thing ever. So you see the units are fighting each other.
Yeah.
The soldiers of Strega, motherfucker. Strega, thank you. Carmilla's forces and Dracula's forces are fighting.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, everyone literally stops.
Yeah.
You get one of the vampire generals who's has the nails right at literally touching one of the throats and just stops.
Yeah.
Everything goes quiet, and then the music is so perfect for this too because trivia. The music in this is from a different Castlevania game. Well, actually from many Castlevania games called Bloody Tears.
Yeah, I heard it's
the moment the music starts, you just see the main 3 just standing there.
Yeah,
Trevor, I terrify them, him being a Belmont, so he's scary. I terrify them. Sypha, you have magic, so you disorient them. And all he says for Alucard goes over the top. And we support him. I'm like, yeah. And then, literally, this entire scene, seeing these 3 fight, is the most Castlevania thing.
Yeah.
From all the games and stuff, this is the most Castlevania it gets in this series.
Absolutely.
You get, Sypha using fire and, ice and stuff like that. You get Trevor actually
the vampire killer blowing up a ton of, like, literally making them explode.
Right, yeah, literally making vampires explode. Alucard using his floating sword and his transformations.
Yeah, from Dino Wolf, I said, wrote, like, Sif and Virgil. He's like Sif from Dark Souls and then Virgil from Devil May Cry. He's just,
pretty much.
Such a cool-ass character.
We actually get some of the generals, like, you know, you have the one Arabian-looking one with the two swords fighting Sypha, who can actually run on a very, very thin surfaces. You get the one like Japanese-looking Empress one that literally just constantly turns the mist.
Form, yeah, it's so fucking cool.
Just everything that happens. It's just so. I want to gush about it so much. But
it's an amazing fight scene. I love it.
It really is. Like, it is the best fight scene. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's even better than the next fight scene. It's so damn good. It's like the animators were like, hey, we still have this much money.
Yeah.
Go wild.
We gotta go
and they
for this
did,
one.
and it was beautiful.
Sypha slices one of the guys in half, and then Trevor blows up another one. They pair up and they take out the last three of them in a really fucking cool fight. So.
Right? Like, Alucard is, like, fighting the mist one, and then Sypha just literally freezes and then shatters that. I like it, because the way she shatters is palm, fist, like, shatters. And then the last one, I love it so much, because the last one, it's nothing glorious. It's just, he's, the one vampire's on his knees, Sypha just... hand on fire, boom!
Yeah, it's like fucking like giant command, like fucking fireball blast. It's so good.
I was gonna say it's like D&D, burning hand,
just
touch.
Like just like a blast them. It's awesome.
It's great.
A couple more monsters try to stop them while they're going up the stairs, but it's just like fuck it. Isaac's there to defend Dracula. He's like, all right.
And Isaac's doing a good job of defending. As he's
take
going.
out some random soldiers from Straya.
Looks down, sees Alucard, and is just like, uh-oh. Alucard goes to attack, but Isaac uses a meat shield.
Yeah, a random soldier.
Uses a random soldier's corpse just to take the blows. And then he's like, goes to Dracula's study. Dracula, your son's here. And then there's someone who reeks of magic. And then there's a third guy. I think he might be the Belmont.
Yeah.
And
he's like, don't worry, I'll defend you with my life. Dracula's just like, yeah, I know you will.
yeah. Well, Dracula's like, wait. Hold on. As in the background, you see one of the mirrors coming back together. He's like, wait. Hold on. You're going to literally die for me. You know this, right? And Isaac's like, look, I'm just a person. You have the knowledge of like all time.
Yeah.
People need your knowledge and everything. He's like, okay, so you choose to guard me, right? Yes. Then I guess my only regret is that I'm making a choice for you. Grabs Isaac, throws him into like a deserty area through the mirror, and then the mirror goes away, and Isaac's just like, no!
Yeah, it's so good.
Super devastated.
Oh, God.
And just, it's so, speaking of JoJo's, this is like
exactly.
so JoJo's. You see Dracula, hulking Dracula walk out, and it's just like Alucard standing there, father. And then it goes to son.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's like, yeah, I told you, I mourn with you, but you can't do this.
They discuss Lisa, like mother be so disappointed in what you're doing.
Yeah, Mom, this war needs to end because Mom wouldn't like it. I have this for your mom, and then of course it's like, look, I have to kill you. Oh, you couldn't kill me before. What makes you think you can do it now? The other two, Sypha and Trevor, just up here. I'm not alone this time. I'm like, oh, anime!
Power of friendship.
Yep, and then we get some good fighting in.
Oh yeah, Dracula like catches the sword immediately and starts kicking all their asses though.
Yeah,
it's just like
quite literally until like Sypha, I forget, like does some kind of magic and it like causes like steam, and then you see Trevor like with the whip. Hits him, direct hit, right in his chest, does the glowy explodey thing.
Yeah.
And then it hurts him, but it doesn't kill him. Like it always does.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and then you get one of my favorite Dracula lines. It's like, "Oh, you're the Belmont, huh? I see how I see how it is. I am Vlad Dracula Tempest, and I have had enough." And then he just this giant fucking hellfire ball.
I heard it's a real move. I heard it's a specific move that he does. Yeah, like he does in the.
Oh yeah, it's in certain Castlevania. That specific like spherical magma ball is actually a thing he does.
Yeah, really, he casts a meteor. Practically.
We'll go rolling meteor because he shoots it from front and it moves slowly.
Sypha tries to stop it, and Trevor gets her back and tries to help her, along with Alucard.
Alucard's like stabbing it, and Sypha's like using magic or something, and Trevor's like being support, and they actually do push it back to Dracula's amazement.
Yeah.
It explodes. Alucard goes forward, and there's a whole lot more fighting going on.
Yeah, they actually got, at one point, they got blasted into the mirror room, and I think Trevor tries to, fist fight him for a second, but he can't do anything with his fist.
So right, yeah. And then as they leave, Trevor and Sypha want to go through the hole that the giant freaking meteor made, but it's too damn hot.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's like, wait a minute. Sypha's like, wait a minute. I hear them upstairs. Let's go. And so they just start going. And then, of course, dad and son have to have their good old fist fight going on.
Alucard tries to stake him, but Dracula says he wants to die. And it's just so...
Yeah, well, Dracula's just like, ha, you're going to have to go deeper than that. Ha ha ha. Keeps fighting him. And Alucard's like, you know what this is, right? This is just like the longest suicide note you've ever made.
This whole giant war.
This isn't about Mother anymore. You want to die, but you just... won't die.
Yeah, they keep fighting until they get to Alucard's childhood room, and then this is when Dracula finally breaks down.
Yeah. In a weird turn of events, as he's getting ready to, he's in Alucard's childhood room. He just stops and he's just having a mental breakdown, oh my god, I'm killing my son.
Yeah.
The best gift that you gave me, as he looks at a picture of all three of them. He talking to his wife, he's like, the best gift you gave me, and I'm killing him. He just, breaks down, kind of, to the point where even Alucard, just makes a makeshift stake, and just just stabs, and Dracula doesn't even stop him.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
It was an intense, really, really, crazy end, and then, of course, Trevor comes in and beheads him.
Right.
And then Sypha sets him on fire when they all finally join up again. And it's such an insanely intense, crazy ending for the whole...
It really is, yeah. And
really
even the ashes and stuff are like, rah! And then they just disappear.
Yeah.
And everything is absolutely fine.
Trevor mourns his father, and Sypha and Trevor say, we saved the...
Who mourns his father?
I wrote Trevor for some reason. Alucard.
Yeah, I was going to say Trevor.
Trevor's like, oh, my dad.
Trevor literally has no family anymore.
Yeah, of course. Whatever Belmont that was. No. Alucard mourns his father, and Sypha and Trevor says that they saved the world by doing this.
It's like, hey, we saved the world. I know it was hard, but we did it. And that is actually when this...
Oh, there was they go outside of the castle, and you see the shot of the game at the end of Castlevania 3 with all three of them, and the shot of the sun and the castle in the background. Usually that's when it crumbles, but and then Sypha grabs with her hand, and it's kind of that's the end of the episode.
Yay, friendship!
It feels like season finale, but it's not.
But surprisingly enough, no, this is the second to last episode.
Yeah, it's insanely cool ending. I love that that Dracula death was fucking fantastic.
Yeah. So, for you've kind of answered a few of my questions because you actually mentioned that the big meteor attack is an actual attack. Everything that was so Castlevania going on, you really kind of answered my questions. But, yeah. I know this is going to be the most difficult thing to ask, but what was your favorite part of all of this?
The fight with all the council people will probably be up there. I think just the end, Dracula's ending scene with talking about Lisa and being upset with this, and then the final death of him was really fucking amazingly dramatic and really cool. But I think probably going to be... I love Alucard's fighting style. Everything he does is incredibly fucking cool. The sword familiar and the fucking wolf form and the... I think the fight when he was taking out the people was probably my favorite because it was so fucking cool.
Yeah,
and it was full of awesome ass scenes.
So clearly I know who your favorite is.
Oh yeah,
Alucard.
Out of the pro tags, definitely Alucard.
Yeah, see, surprisingly enough, I want to say Alucard because, like you said, he does everything so right. And I mean, I played Symphony of the Night. Yeah. It's a really fun one. One of the first Castlevania Metroidvania-esque games. But I have to give it to Sypha because she's so damn creative with her magic. She's incredibly
strong too, an insanely powerful magic user.
It's like a wizard, only not squishy.
I know.
Because she doesn't let them get near.
They never get near her, and she's insanely powerful. It's so cool.
And I know he's the main protagonist, but when you've seen one Belmont, you've seen all the Belmonts kind of thing. So, yes, he was a badass. I'm not saying he wasn't. But it was just like, yeah, he uses the whip, and he uses the whip in cool ways, and the tip explodes. Yeah, don't take that out of context. But that was all we got with him, pretty much. Yeah. And his versatility with like
all the actual moves fighting, and like when he took out the demons with the little sticks and everything, he's a really cool fighter. But.
Now the big question, because it's a Castlevania game, usually it ends with, Dracula being big bad evil, transforming into something, and Belmont or Alucard, if you're Symphony of the Night, kill him, he's dead, they go home, end of story kind of thing. How did you actually like that turn of events with Dracula literally having a shred of humanity before he died?
I really, really liked it. I told you, even in the first season, I think Dracula and Alucard were tied for my favorite characters for the first season because of how much background we got for him compared to the pro tags.
Right.
It was just I love the character because he had so much pathos, so much actual emotion and motivations, and everything about him was really, really fascinating and incredibly well done. And that's why the ending was so meaningful and awesome and much better than if he just turned into a big monster and was just an asshole the whole time.
Right, yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, and I agree with you. This version of Dracula that the Netflix series did, I actually like this version a lot better than any of the other Castlevania Draculas.
Oh, you don't like what is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets.
That's just for the memes. Yeah,
I would say that I don't know how much of an actual. Yeah, I would say I don't even know how much of an actual character Dracula is in the games.
Okay, so he's the big bad evil.
I know that, but I'm saying actually
here's the thing. The only time you get to see a lot of him is Symphony of the Night, because he's actually integral to the story because main character's dad. Yeah. Where he actually gets a few dialogue lines, and, the whole thing with Dracula as well in Castlevania games, especially the later ones, not the earlier ones, where it was just he was the final boss kind of thing, is he usually was, the story would always be he would try to be resurrected, and your main character, fill in the blank whoever it is, be it Belmont, Morrison, or Alucard, has to stop it from happening. Yeah. But and this is when Castlevania decided to do this as well, the multiple endings thing. Yeah. The good, bad, or kind of ending. If you go to the good ending, you find out that the guy you fought at the end was actually being manipulated by the darkness, the spirit of Dracula, so that it could happen. Yeah. And so he, as it got on later on, he had a more integral role. But then you have the Sorrows games for the GBA, Aria of Sorrow, and for the DS, Dawn of Sorrow, where your main character actually finds out that under certain circumstances, he actually gained the power of Dracula, so technically he is Dracula. Okay. Yeah, you're playing as Dracula.
I heard that, I knew that was a thing for some of them, you find out at the end and stuff.
And instead of killing Dracula, you have to pretty much banish the darkness within you kind of thing. Yeah. So it's just Dracula in the video games, he got more important as it went on, but other than that, he was just a big bad evil guy.
Of course, yeah. That sucks. But I was interested in because I knew sometimes you play as Dracula, sometimes he has amnesia and stuff like that. I was curious if he actually has as much character as he has in this one.
This one by far. Yeah. Dracula as a whole, I'm not counting Soma from the Sorrows games. Yeah. Because he is but isn't Dracula kind of thing. This version of Dracula is the most is his most important role because you get to see not only more of his backstory in depth, but you get to see him just going through. He's not just a power hungry tyrant thing. He's actually an old man who's I'm pissed off at humanity and I want them all to die. He still has that fervor, but you see that he's more human in the others because he's just tired. In one of the episodes prior, you find out that he hasn't been feeding. Yeah. But he's still powerful and all that stuff. Tired and stuff. And just you get to see a different side of the whole, Dracula's, instead of just Dracula big bad evil, kill him. No, he actually has a relatable sort. Because, you understand why he did everything, even though he was wrong, unless you're Matt, he might have been right. Yeah, he's great. But it's so great you get to see that side of the bad guy. Yeah. He's actually, it's like making a villain relatable and actually you sympathizing with them without it being like tropey, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. I understand. Yeah, I was gonna say, well, since like this time just discussed Dracula as opposed to like the actual season finale after this, I just started reading a book, The Keep. It's a really, really fascinating. It's a book that takes place, I believe, in around World War II. Some German soldiers are trying to take Poland, and they go to this keep, an old like castle or small like out castle, and there's like all these crosses all over the walls, and something is like killing a soldier every single night, and they have no idea what it is, but it's like pretty obviously a vampire because their throats are ripped out, and it like goes into like what this place is and the significance of it. That's when I finally found out Wallachia is the actual old name for Poland.
Yeah.
Or for is it Poland or is it one of the other?
I think it's one of the other ones.
But one of the sub-Russian places. I forgot which one. I forgot.
Yeah, but either way, like
Romania.
Yeah, okay.
It's an old name for Romania.
Yeah, but see, and that's the crazy thing about this. The places,
yeah,
like Styria, Brela, Wallachia, you'll find out later on.
And the other one.
Yeah, Greshit, and you'll later on when we get to season 3, you'll actually see even more familiar names. The places, I'm not going to say all of them are, but the vast majority of them are actual places.
Yeah, I was like so surprised. Like the book mentioned Wallachia, and I was like, "What the fuck are that? Is that what? I thought that was from fucking Castlevania. What the hell?" Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah, no, that's the old name for Romania." And like, yeah, like no spoilers, but the vampire turned out to be one of Dracula's sub-generals, the actual Vlad Tepes's sub-generals who were also vampires. It's a really fucking fascinating book.
Right.
But it's just like, I love that whole dynamic. And also I was going to say, since we're on the topic anyway, I remember the last 2 episodes I mentioned, like, God, all this vampire stuff between this and a fucking game and a whole bunch of other stuff. I was playing with vampire shit in it at the time. I fucking just went out and dropped like a couple $100 and like fucking started a vampire Warhammer army.
Of course you did. Of course
Again,
you did.
It's an awful addiction. Don't do it, everybody. It's an awful addiction, but I fucking love vampires now.
But yeah, like I said before we get to the final episode of this recording, that part with the fucking actual Castlevania music in that entire fight scene,
straight up Castlevania.
This is one of those reverse things where I've actually watched the entirety, and this is his first time watching it. Throughout the rest of Castlevania, in your watching, this is the most Castlevania it gets. It can get close with especially one fight, but this fight scene right here is the most Castlevania it actually gets.
Oh, it actually passes that scene from season 1 where they're jumping around those weird pillars in that fucking platformy.
Oh, absolutely.
I was like, that's the most Castlevania thing I've seen so far.
But see, with this one here, it was fighting vampires in Dracula's castle during a blood moon while an actual official Castlevania track plays in the background. Yeah. This is as Castlevania as it gets. But like I said, it gets close in one certain fight.
I'm looking forward to the next season. So,
but let's wind it back. We've had our excitement, we've had our fun.
Of course.
Wind it back and take it to the final episode of season 2, and.
I'm going to say episode 8. You gotta set it up properly. We can't say
no. We can't, come on. We can just say final episode.
I can't guess what the hell you're going to say it, dude.
No, hey, that's why visually I was trying to get you.
You have to say the whole thing.
Anyway, so we're going to go to episode 8 of season 2. End times. How do we start off, Matt?
Alucard's walking through the castle and just looking at all the various remains and books and rooms. It's just a very quiet, somber scene. Sypha, and Trevor. What the fuck is wrong with me? I'm mumbling now from too much talking. Sypha and Trevor marvel at the true science of all the crazy tech that he has. It's an incredibly fun cool
like electricity, and other things,
beakers and science stuff. It's
right?
Like, whoa. Alucard plans to return to his vault after all of this.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's like, I'm just gonna go back to sleep.
Yeah,
which technically that is what happens at the end of 3, because Symphony of the Night starts with him waking up again.
Yeah, I knew like a lot of the games he does like come back, so yeah.
But I loved it because
he decides to keep the castle. And this is when Trevor. What the hell? Trevor says.
You know what? Yeah,
Sypha broke the castle's teleportation thing, and there's tons and tons of knowledge above and below in the castle and in the Belmont Library. So
right, as above, so below. They say.
Yeah.
You got Dracula's knowledge and you have the Belmont knowledge. So Trevor's like, hey, stay here. Don't go to your little sleepy hole.
Yeah.
Stay here. I'm giving you the Belmont hold.
Yeah.
And Alucard's just like, I'm sorry, what? He's like, yeah, you have this knowledge here, and, well, we can't, like Sypha said, we can't move it anymore, so it has to stay here, right above the Belmont hold, so why not teach the world?
Yeah. Trevor says it's going to give you the home to defend both sources of knowledge.
Yeah, don't make it a tomb, make it a home.
Yeah.
And of course, Alucard is touched by this. Never thought that a Belmont would touch him so.
Yeah. That's so touching. Isaac wanders the desert in an oasis.
By the way, meanwhile, in a desert.
Yeah,
nice
meanwhile,
segue.
cut to Isaac in a weird desert oasis, and some weird asshole traveler bandits just kind of accost him.
Oh, these guys. In a show, the just rewards of asshole characters. I love seeing that because you get to see how much of an asshole they are, and then they get their just rewards. So, Isaac finds an oasis, starts drinking. 5 guys, 5 white guys, mind you, walk up and say, "Look at it, it's thirsty. Don't drink it all."
Yeah, and they say, let's take him. Yeah, they're like, "Come on, let's just take him. We can sell him, or maybe just eat him." And he's just like, "Oh, humans truly are."
Yeah, right. It's like, this is the best you have to offer. See a traveler, call him it, and then you want to like cut him up, maybe eat him, sell him for body parts, because apparently in this world, some magic they use like body parts. I think we did.
We mentioned it last time. He said that's what he like.
Him. I didn't know if we had it because it's been a while since we've done this. But but either way, and then of course, what does Isaac do? He does what he does best: fucking murder them.
Yeah, he fucking destroys them. And then we see literally Isaac's eating them by a fire in the oasis. It's so fucking weird.
Yeah. Was it?
He was definitely eating meat.
I was going to say it was probably the horses.
Yeah, it could have been,
Yeah, because I know some places do actually eat horse.
Yeah, it wasn't clear, but it was, he was eating some kind of meat while like, at the oasis with all those...
And I love it because he's like eating it. He's like, they said I wasn't human. Wait, what if I had my army? I'm a forge master. And he literally resurrects every single one of them into zombies.
Yeah.
And... speaking of just rewards, hey, you think we should find more for our merry band? The one guy who was the asshole to him is literally tied up, being like just zombified, kind of just following this.
Yeah, that's so fucking cool. Sypha wants to rejoin her caravan and tell the story of all the crazy stuff that happened. And Trevor asks, "Hey, will you go back to your old life? We did a whole bunch of crazy shit. You're gonna go back to being like a boring old." And
Sypha's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to. I really do because I mean, I'm a speaker. We have to do all this. But I loved what we did. And then she gives a pep talk of a lifetime to Trevor. Like, hey, look, let me level with you. I like doing this. You're literally born to do this, and. This, as crazy as it's going to sound, killing Dracula and everything like that, it made you full of life. And Trevor's like, what the hell are you on about? Yeah. Look, I like you. Look, I'm spelling it out. I like you, Trevor. Yeah. I want to travel with you.
Go on adventures. Dracula still has forces in the world. Take the goddamn hint. Yeah, it's like Dracula still has forces in the world. The church is incredibly corrupt. There's a lot more we can do. And it's just like, he's like, oh, yeah, that sounds good.
And of course, he's like, yeah, after all of this, you actually grew up a little because, all of your Belmonts died.
Yeah.
You finally got to grow up a bit. And then, of course, Trevor's just like, okay, you know how batshit insane this sounds, right? You literally want us to travel the world, kill things, and just keep doing that for the rest of our lives. You know that's what you're saying, right? And Cypher's like, well, yeah. Of course.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's your calling, right? And you're going to need me with you. But for right now, they're looking at like a sunrise, and he's like, let's just chill here for a second. I'm just like, aw. Or as Sokka and Toph would call it, oogie. Oogie.
That's another reference to the ending where you have Trevor and Sypha, where like she like takes the hood off, you reveal it's a woman, and then she like puts her head on his shoulder.
Yep.
Yeah, the final shot's a reference to that, and he calls her his friend, and she's like, oh.
Yeah, because back in the 80s when that game came out, friend.
Yeah.
You couldn't say, hey, I love you. It was just like, you're my friend.
And she also said they want to go to Brayla.
Yep, you gotta go to Brayla too.
And cut to Brayla.
Oh, what?
Hector's kind of just sitting on the ground drawing in the dirt. He's kind of like looking weird and depressed.
And of course you hear freaking Carmilla, is the sun down yet? Nah, it's not. Ugh. How many people have come by? Oh, not very many. They're too afraid of us.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. And they have some banter. And of course,
she talks about how when it's dark, they're going to return to Straya. She knows Dracula is dead, and Hector is upset about that.
Right. And then, of course, when night actually comes, and, she's actually out.
Yeah.
And Hector's like, yeah, I'm gonna make a fire and everything, and then I'm just gonna leave. Wait, I don't need fire, right? No, it's for me, because I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, she's like, oh, no, you're not.
And Carmilla's like, oh my goodness. You don't know how valuable you are and how precious it is to think that you're actually gonna be free. Gets clapped in irons.
Yeah, the guards
and literally beat the shit out of. And then brought back up and he's like, you're mine now, pet.
Yeah, you're my forge master now. You're gonna make me an army. And she just beats him up like really hard.
Yeah, like literally just beats the crap out of him. Perfect for a forge master.
Yeah, exactly.
Who can literally,
make an army.
I'm not gonna go on that tirade yet.
We'll get there.
But then of course they start walking with him in tow, heading straight to Styria.
Yeah.
Straight to Styria. Once we get to one of the episodes for season 3, we'll describe how fucking nuts that is. Anyway, back at the Belmont Estate.
Yeah, Trevor and Sypha pack up some horses for the trip, and they tell Alucard to be well.
Yep, be well, my friend. My favorite part, just
waving goodbye.
Waving goodbye, and what does Alucard do? Instead of waving at fucking Trevor, he's just like flip him off.
Yeah,
I'm like, yes, that's the kind of ending you get. And then of course they start going off. And speaking of important names in Castlevania, Belenades and Belmont.
Yeah.
That actually is important because, well, as you probably already know from our banter, and if you've played the Castlevania games, they're the start of the new Belmont line.
Yep.
Yeah, this is when Simon comes in and all that stuff. Later down the generations.
Yeah. Alucard goes back into the castle, kind of wanders its lonely halls by himself, and sees visions of his father throughout the castle.
Yep, sees visions of when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And he's just like, wow, is this how it felt?
Yeah, he also goes to the room and he sees visions of his mother playing with him, and he finally just sits down in a chair and starts crying. And that is just the end of the season.
Yep, that is the end of season 2.
Intense, depressing, and touching note to end this really cool show on.
And I'm not going to lie, I know sometimes, you get the season finale like, yeah, we killed the big bad evil guy.
Yeah,
what's going on now? And that's like the beginning of season 3. But I like how they literally took an episode to tie up all the different loose ends.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we need an episode for this. Let's see. So many questions to ask.
Yeah. I'll say firstly, I like this probably 10 times more than season 1.
Oh, well.
This season in general, I loved it so much.
Okay, real talk?
Yeah.
That's not a fair assessment because this season was literally double the episodes.
Twice as long? Yeah, exactly.
Literally season 1.
And twice the amount of characters.
But season 1, the only reason why it was 4 episodes is because they wanted to know how well. Yeah, it was a test.
Yeah.
And then they found out, hey, this is actually really well. Let's continue on. Yeah. So you can't say this is better than season 1. Of course it is.
Well, I would say compared to the first 4 episodes of season 3 of Young Justice, when it was like a one long story, the first 4.
Yeah, you know what? Okay.
Meeting Brion and all of them and all that whole arc with that. But like I said, I liked all the new characters way more than the original group, and I fucking loved Dracula actually getting more character like he did in the first episode only. It was so fucking good. Dracula only had character in the first episode of season 1, but the entirety of season 2, between Isaac and Hector, Godbrand even, Carmilla, and Dracula's expanded thing, they were all, so much more interesting than the entire main parties, whatever they were doing at any time. But also, about half of the season, the main party was really stuck in that fucking library, not doing much.
A lot of it was, but that was the main important part of it.
Of course. It was crucial.
Now, not the main 3, not the big 3, and not Dracula. Of all the new characters, who is your favorite and why? Now that we've actually finished season 2.
I would say it's really difficult because I love everything Carmilla's doing, and I love her design, and I love her character.
Okay.
She probably
let's be real.
It's tied between her and Hector, honestly.
Hector?
Yeah, I really like Hector. Yeah.
Yeah. Well. First off, I personally know why, and I'm going to call you out on this, why you like Carmilla, because everyone has a type, and she just happens to be yours.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, let's not discuss the best Organization 13 member.
Of course, yeah, she's fucking great. I loved her whole, her whole motivation from beginning to end was fantastic. Her design was fucking like straight, like fucking white haired or fucking cool ass. The voice actress I told you I know from Dexter and Spartacus. I love the actress.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did say that.
Yeah, just everything about that character was like made for me to absolutely love her to death.
See, for me, with Carmilla, for me personally, it's a love-hate relationship. Because that version of Carmilla, like her actually just being a vampire lady, that was more for the Netflix adaptation, because every time you fight Carmilla in the video games, she's either like a demoness looking thing, or she has like some sort of mask on her.
Yeah, just a weird big mask floating in the air.
And the reason for the mask thing is because that was her shame, because Dracula found out she betrayed him, and that was her punishment.
Oh.
Yeah, so I had context clues. The moment she was introduced, I'm like, she's going to betray him. I already know this is what's going to happen. She's going to betray him. How? But they made her so damn good.
I know.
For once we can agree on this, but my God, they made her so damn good. So with me, it's like, I hate her because she's the fucking betrayer, and she's going to betray Dracula and everything. Yeah. But on the other hand, God damn, she's so good.
She is so fucking cool.
But if we're not going to do Carmilla, because you and I have both already like gushed about her.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Not surprisingly, it's actually for me. It was actually Isaac.
Really?
See, not the whole tragic backstory, not the whole I hate humans thing.
Yeah.
He's just so goddamn skilled. Like what he's everything Hector. He's everything Hector is not. He's literally the polar opposite.
Absolutely the opposite.
Not to say Hector is not bad. I actually like the fact that they were both literally
they're both incredible characters.
They were like yin and yang, or
yin and yang.
Yeah, yin and yang, pretty much. Where Hector was innocent, had his innocence still.
Yeah.
But he was still doing this, because it needed to happen. Whereas Isaac was just cold-blooded, like he was what Dracula usually is in the video games. More hardened, gotta kill everyone, not tired, revels in the details kind of thing, and everything like that. And just, I don't know, he's just so goddamn badass. And the fact that he single-handedly takes out a vampire on his own.
Literally, like, listening back, like, it shows how powerful Godbrand is, just, like, fucking, like, snowboarding down that hill, taking out a bunch of soldiers, backflipping onto his longboat and being cool. And then, like, the next episode, he's, like, getting his ass kicked by Isaac. Like,
very, very, like, we get, like a 5-7 minute introduction to what Godbrand was, and then in like 2 minutes tops, sub 2 minutes, Isaac just takes him out.
Yeah, it's so fucking good.
So because I know we obviously we've already talked about how much we have seen. When you got to this point, what were you thinking was going to be next? Because at this point, you already knew that there were 4 seasons of
course,
this.
There's a whole other 2 seasons.
By the way, Dracula's dead. Castlevania's over, right? No, there's 2 more fucking seasons of this.
Yeah.
In a good way, not in a bad way. What were you thinking? Like, what was going to happen next?
Number 1, I really am looking forward to seeing Hysteria. That was like my number 1 thing I really, really, really want to see. My other thing was I'm curious what the hell Hector is going to do from there, and also Isaac, where the fuck he's going to do with his army. I have no clue where the fuck they're going. But then also, I was like vaguely curious about Trevor and Sypha. I'm not too like I said, like they were like probably, not to say they didn't like the characters, but they're probably like on the tier of all the top main characters. They're probably on my bottom. I get their deal, but I'm not too like interested in what their stories are going to be. But between what the fuck ever Isaac is building up, and then fucking Hector going off and being like a slave for Carmilla and them in Styria, I'm just like, that is going to be so fucking fascinating. I'm really looking forward to that. Also, I have no clue what the fuck Alucard was going to do. I'm just like, what the fuck is he going to...
Right. When I got here, because, when I first watched this season 3 was announced. It was not out yet. It was announced. Yeah, that's how long ago I first watched this. Mm-hmm. And I was like everyone else, like, what are they going to do next? I'm like, well, we could focus more on Carmilla, because she has Hector, a Forge Master. Yeah. So it's probably going to be, please, in comments or anything, I cannot remember which one it is, of the video games. I was thinking maybe it was going to be like, I think it was like Lament of Shadows or something like that, where you actually, the main character is Hector.
Oh, yeah.
Is Hector. And surprisingly enough, the main villain was supposed to be, is Isaac in that.
Yeah, I heard a thing about, like, Isaac kills Hector's wife.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, okay, well.
But either way, like, I was thinking maybe it's going to be a turn like that. Like, maybe he'll escape from Carmilla and it'll be all about him. Mm-hmm. Like, go away. Don't get me wrong. Like you said, the main three were great. But maybe shift the focus away from them. Focus more on, like, Hector getting out and, you know, fighting Carmilla and her forces. Using his powers of being a Forge Master or something like that. But then I'm like, but how is Isaac going to turn it? Because Isaac does not have... the only drive Isaac would have, if any, is Hector betrayed Dracula.
Yeah, but before that, I was also thinking, like, yeah, he could want revenge because of that, but, like, he barely had time to know that plan was happening before that got fucked up by the good guy group.
Right,
so.
yeah. Either way, it's like, there were a few things, but my biggest one was the whole, maybe Hector trying to get out and fighting Carmilla thing. And that's where my thoughts were going. Maybe that's how Season 3 went. And I'm like, okay, we'll see what goes on from there. Any final thoughts on Season 2?
Like I said, I liked it a hell of a lot more than Season 1. This made me a lot more invested in the characters and where they're going to go from here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Now that we actually had more episodes to work with.
Yeah, and more characters with, like, much more insane characters to work with.
Me and my little Castlevania heart, like, I know these characters. I know them well.
I can't wait to get into it. But, yeah, that's going to be it for Season 2.
Yeah, absolutely. At this moment, I mean, I'm pretty much doing your whole thing. Yeah, you'd like to think that during the pans,
yeah.
As the pans are falling from the cupboard, you'd like to think that I would be working on my own solo things, but unfortunately, you know this very well now. My job has been killing me.
Yeah,
I know. Recently, you got a newer job, third shift job too.
Yeah.
So you know what it's like when a job fucking murders you.
Oh, it can be tough. Yeah, it's really, but yeah.
But I know you have all of the shameful plugs.
Of course.
They're not shameless. We're just we're being shameful. Just put them all in.
They're all shameful now. Forgotten Minotaur King still available on Amazon. I need more reviews. Give me those reviews. Forgotten Minotaur King audiobook available on YouTube, and I believe it's still available on like iTunes and stuff. This podcast, of course, fucking Action Toon Bros. Shout out to listen to those back episodes, give those also ratings and reviews. Then, of course, Movie Garbage.
Yep, our good friend Ed.
Yeah, my co-host Ed does Movie Garbage, and also just pimping out Ed's streams. Father Bohawk, will follow him on Twitch.
Oh yeah, that's right. He has a Twitch now.
Yeah. But also Matthew Lewis Podcast on Twitter, Matthew Lewis Podcast also on Twitch, Matthew Lewis Podcast on Patreon. Go check them out. They're fucking awesome.
Yeah, but seriously, Forgotten Minotaur King, if anything other than this one that you want to listen to, that's not a review or a good story, Forgotten Minotaur King. I've actually caught up finally with it, and yeah, it's a really good story.
And the follow-up series, Perna and Mars, Mysteries of Indignia, coming soon. Also, a potential video game podcast with our friend and frequent co-host, Chris.
Nice.
We'll see. My fucking podcast empire needs to continue growing because I'm addicted to them.
Wow. Okay. Look. I said shameful. I didn't say just put yourself out.
No, shameful. It's shameful, and I'm crazy.
Well, that's it for season 2 of Castlevania.
Oh yeah.
In the future, expect us to start season 3. And from us here at Action Toon Bros, as we always say, keep it sleazy.